Rita, thank you. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Monday's edition of Look North. Our top story tonight. Defeated but not downhearted, the Lionesses from our region head home following the Women's World Cup.
Right now, I think we just have to let the emotions settle and then really reflect and be proud of what we've achieved this summer, because it's been incredible. We'll look at what the tournament has done for women's football. Also tonight, the Mid-Yorkshire NHS Trust faces legal action after more than 50 women didn't get adequate care during childbirth. Running out of steam, the coal mine that supplies our heritage railways is set to close this autumn. And are you being served? Verdale's department store celebrating 140 years of trading.
And it's been a reasonable day, hasn't it? There was some sunshine around. You can see over Netherthong here in the middle part of the day, and there will be further spells of sunshine at times this week. Join me later in the programme for a look at the forecast for the week ahead.
Hello, thank you for watching. Good to have your company this Monday evening. First tonight, proud to have reached the World Cup final, heartbroken not to be coming home with the trophy. That's the mix of emotions for England's Lionesses, including 5 players from our region after yesterday's 1-0 defeat to Spain. Here are 2 of them, Rachel Daly and Millie Bright. Well, the team are now on their way home, and fans here are already looking at ways to officially recognise their achievements. In Harrogate, there's a petition calling for a sports centre to be named after Rachel Daly. Hannah Gray takes up the story.
Amazing. I think that everyone deserves such a proud pat on the back, because that's not just the 23 players out there, that's the staff, that's everyone involved in this.
With friends and constituents in North Allerton, I think we'll all be incredibly proud about what the Lioness.
And you might remember Tess, the Lioness superfan from Knaresborough. She won the nation's hearts with her dancing at the Women's Euros. She's just turned 10, and yesterday she was just as enthusiastic.
Get in there! You're going to have your ups and downs for your team, but you can't stop being a good fan for them, because that will just put them down as well as you.
And that's it. It's heartbreak for the Lionesses.
Definitely be bouncing back, and it's still on there, it's still on the list of aims. But yeah, right now I think we just have to let the emotions settle and then really reflect and be proud of what we've achieved this summer, because it's been incredible.
And as they head back home, they will certainly be receiving a hero's welcome.
Because that's where she started, and I think it should be the Daily Sports Centre. So, come on, Harrogate Council, get on it.
Well, during the World Cup, many teams have seen an increase in young girls signing up, wanting to play football. Killamarsh Dynamos, where captain Millie Bright started her footballing career, has had an influx of messages from keen parents, and it's where Ollie Constable has been trying to get himself an England call-up.
98, 99, 100. Still got it. We're here at Killamarsh Dynamos. This is the pitch where Millie Bright learnt to play her football. Mick is one of those people who saw her growing up. What was it like seeing her on telly, World Cup finalist?
You couldn't write it, could you? I mean, the aspiration. If you'd have asked Millie when she was 9, when she was first here, you know, you're going to be England captain, she wouldn't have believed it, would she? You know, it's great. I mean, these girls have all seen this, so they now have a, you know, they can see a route for themselves to get to exactly what Millie's done, so they aspire to that now.
And she was on this very pitch, wasn't she, learning her craft to play football? What was it like seeing her on TV? In tears, she was gutted, wasn't she? She just missed out.
They were brilliant. I mean, all the Lionesses were superb. I mean, they in my eyes, overachieved, because, you know, they were up against it with a few players missing, with Millie injured to start with. And to get to the final is, I mean, they're all winners anyway, you know, and to these girls, they're what it's all about.
You're clearly doing something right, Mick. It's a fantastic setup that they've got here. Then one of the amazing things about this is they've got girls like Misha and Hannah who all came together to watch the game on Sunday, didn't you? Where were you watching it?
We was down in the club watching it all together and cheering them on as a team.
And what was that atmosphere like? Everybody together watching someone like Millie Bright?
It was really great. We were still cheering them on even though there's 2 minutes of the game, because we believed in them. They were really unlucky to lose, but we still believe in them, and they can do it again next time.
And that's it. It's about next time, isn't it? Hannah, you're one of the players who plays here. What's it like having a girls' team that you can play in?
It's amazing, because they're like always
it's like there's more opportunity, because when I was little there wasn't many more like opportunities to play in.
And it's amazing now that so many young girls, as we can see here, as this impromptu training session come down because they love playing football. Maybe one day one of these girls is the next Millie Bright.
I'm sure so. Ollie Constable there in Killamarsh. OK, let's have a look at some of the other day's news now. A man's denied attempting to murder a man at the Tannhill Inn in the Yorkshire Dales. Richard Bowser appeared at Teesside Crown Court and also denied intending to endanger life during the incident in July. However, he has pleaded guilty to causing bodily harm to one man, assaulting 2 other people and possessing 2 firearms. He is expected to go on trial in January. Staff at Wakefield's National Coal Mining Museum have called off a strike planned for this week. Around 100 Unison Union members were due to walk out for 2 weeks from Wednesday in a dispute over pay. They have now postponed industrial action and after a new offer from employers. Workers would receive a 5% pay rise and a £200 one-off cost of living payment. Now, the Mid-Yorkshire NHS Trust are facing legal action after a report found that more than 50 women who suffered tears during childbirth did not receive adequate care. Beth Atkinson had her baby at Pinderfields Hospital 2 years ago, but she says she's been left in daily pain because she wasn't referred for aftercare. Corinne Wheatley reports.
Like any new parents, Beth and Lee found that life changed completely when baby Harrison was born in November 2021. But alongside the joy, a lot of discomfort for Beth. She suffered 3rd-degree tears during labour, and nearly 2 years on, she's still in pain every day.
I couldn't get on the floor and get up without being lifted up. Lee has to physically get me off the floor, or I've got to have something nearby where I can rest on to get myself up. I can't run after Harrison, I can't do simple things. I couldn't run round in the garden after Harrison.
They struggled on, unaware that support should have been available, until January this year when they received a letter from the trust that runs Pinderfields Hospital apologising that Beth wasn't referred to the perineal and physiotherapy clinic after she gave birth.
Why over a year later did someone say, oh, actually, that's not right? I'd been living like that for over 12 months.
We'd had no appointments prior to that. That just turned up one day and basically an apology saying that they hadn't treated us properly, sort of thing.
And I think to find out that this could have been avoided is the worst thing.
That's the hardest bit to take, isn't it?
That's the hardest bit, yeah.
Now, solicitors acting for Beth have seen an internal report by the NHS Trust that says between January 2020 and December 2022, of those who suffered 3rd and 4th degree tears, 52 women were not referred for postnatal, urogynecological and physiotherapy follow-up. The Trust says that during that period, more than 17,500 people gave birth under their care.
We're pushing as much as we can do for the Trust to actually release this report, to release the findings of it and to ensure that they also release details as to what action they're going to take about it moving forward.
Well, Mid-Yorkshire Teaching NHS Trust says it's been in contact with all 52 of the women affected and has apologised to them and offered a follow-up appointment. The Trust also says it's committed to making improvements wherever its care falls short. Now that Beth is in the referral process, there is a treatment option available, but at 31 years old, it leaves her with an impossible choice to make.
I will need an operation, and there's nothing that they can do without that operation. But we have got to make the decision if we are going to have any more children or not. We're still young enough to have another child, you know. We might want to give Harrison a brother or sister in the next 2-3 years. Making that decision is a really difficult one at the minute for us.
What do you want to happen now?
I want other women to know that this is not right, so they can now speak out if this has happened to them. But I don't want it to happen again. Having a baby shouldn't be this type of experience. It should be a really positive experience.
Corinne Wheatley, BBC Look North, Wakefield.
You're watching Monday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. Alongside the World Cup, there was plenty of other action over the weekend, including a North Allerton golfer with his first DP World Tour victory in Northern Ireland. Sally will have all the sports. But first, a Leeds charity that's handed out thousands of beds to children with nowhere to sleep has just reached its 5th anniversary. Primary school teacher Bex Wilson set up Zarak in 2018 and says she wants to completely stamp out bed poverty. She joined me in the studio a little earlier today and I asked her to explain how she came up with the idea for the charity.
I was teaching a little boy, he'd not had a good day. When I spoke to him, I asked him if he was tired and he said, "I'm always tired, I don't have a bed." And when I went and spoke with his mum, I found that to be true. I went and looked for places that could help and couldn't find anywhere. We then went and bought a bed for him and his brother and his sister and went and delivered it, found not very much in his house. They'd had to move house really quickly and we gave them a little bit of help and support. Mum got back on her feet, did an amazing job and then asked us to do the same for other families and the rest is history.
And 5 years on, how many people do you think you've helped now?
In the last couple of weeks, we delivered our 5,000th bed bundle.
Wow,
which
that's
is
amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah, we're really proud of the numbers that we've helped, and we know that there are still many more that we need to help as well. But over half of those beds have been delivered in the past 12 months, so we know that the need is increasing, and we've got to a point now where over 20% of our beds have been delivered outside of Leeds in the hubs that we've set up.
I suppose most of us don't think twice, do you, about just going to bed, having somewhere to put your head to relax and get a good night's sleep. How common a problem is it? You mentioned that you're still having to help people today.
Absolutely, and the more that we do, the more that we grow, the more need we see coming forward from places up and down the country. The research out there, Bananas Crisis on Our Doorstep said recently 1 in 7 children don't have a bed of their own. We know that there are lots of children out there needing help and support that we're offering. How do people get into the situation where they have no bed to sleep in? We find lots of our families come from lots of different contexts. It's always complex. There's always nuances to each family situation, but we do see a lot of families with issues around domestic abuse at home, having to move house quickly because something has really affected their financial security, maybe loss of a job or bereavement or long-term illness, lots of different reasons. But one thing that we know is common across all of that is a parent desperately wants their child to have a bed and wants the best for their children, and that's what we come across all the time, and it's wonderful to be able to help parents that have maybe been stuck in a bit of a downward spiral, things being really difficult, really negative, costs increasing, struggling to put food on the table, a reoccurring cost there. We know that if we can go and help them with a bed, that's, you know, up to 8 years that child will have that bed and it'll see them through their primary school or secondary school journey.
And it's not just beds, you provide more than that now too.
Yeah, we respond to the needs of the families that we help, so we have other provisions around food and holiday activity and things, but our real North Star is to end child bed poverty in the UK.
And briefly, Bex, what's the ultimate goal for the charity?
Exactly that, so we don't want to exist. We want to know that in all towns and all cities in our country, that when a professional working with a child finds out that they don't have a bed, they understand how to spot the signs and symptoms foremost, but then they're able to do something about it. They're able to make sure that that child has somewhere safe for them to sleep.
Well, you're doing great work and it's absolutely appreciated, so thank you for coming in and congratulations on reaching 5 years.
Thank you.
Bex Wilson talking to us a little earlier on today. Next tonight, Yorkshire's heritage railways have been left hunting for alternative supplies of coal after the last remaining coal mine in the UK announced that it will cease production in November. Work at the Foster Fan open cast pit in Wales will end in November, meaning coal for steam railways will have to be imported. But the heritage lines say it'll cost more and there'll be greater environmental costs as well. Here's our business correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
It's hot, dirty work shovelling more than a tonne of coal a day into a hungry locomotive. But without coal there would be no steam, and without steam, heritage railways like the Keighley and Worth Valley would look and feel very different. Where that coal comes from is now an open question, with the closure of the country's last mine in South Wales. It means steam lines up and down the country will be importing their fuel from Poland, Colombia or even Australia.
I think the Welsh pit closing is a blow for the industry. It does mean that every time we want coal, it's going to have to come from abroad, which I think is a real shame. The complications that come with that, the cost that comes with that, and also the increased carbon footprint that comes with that too.
The Phosphofan open cast pit will close in November. Its 15-year-long mining licence has expired, and whilst coal prices are at record levels, the Welsh Government won't extend the licence. And so the hunt for another supply is already underway. With the demise of British pits over the last 30 years, the railway has been looking for other sources of coal. This is lump coal imported in from Poland. It burns really well. And here we've got some ovoids. Now these are interesting. They're a mixture of coal dust and molasses. They don't burn as well, but are supposed to be more environmentally friendly. Lines like the Worth Valley market themselves as steam attractions. Diesel trains don't have the same draw.
People come from all over just to see the steam trains, and it's nice that the railways are keeping it going, you know.
Well, they remind me a lot of my childhood, actually, and I used to travel on steam trains all the time, and it's great to bring the grandchildren.
It's not just steam trains still using coal. The biggest buyer is the steel industry, who will also have to import it.
So what's going to have to happen is that it's going to have to be basically offshoring our responsibility from the environmental point of view, and we're having to ship coal for all those industries, including the 35,000 tonnes that we need for the heritage sector.
The men and women behind heritage railways like a challenge. The hunt for new coal supplies is the latest test, as the centuries-old domestic supply finally bites the dust. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, Haworth.
Now, a family-run department store in the Yorkshire Dales is celebrating 140 years in business. The Milner family started selling to farmers from a horse and cart during the reign of Queen Victoria. Well, today they run a high street store, much loved by locals, as Kathy Killick reports.
In the heart of Leyburn, in the heart of the Dales, the Milner family have faithfully served their customers for 140 years. The small department store sells clothes and haberdashery on the ground floor, carpets and soft furnishings upstairs. The business was started in 1883 by Christopher Milner, who sold door-to-door from a horse and cart. Now his great-great-granddaughter Leonie is proprietor.
So let me show you some of our photos from our history.
They're lovely, aren't they?
And this lovely picture with the staff who worked there at the time in their 1930s outfits.
Don't they look lovely?
They do, don't they?
And then is this earlier or later?
This one's later. This is in the 1960s, and it was, at the time, it was just literally one room on the ground floor.
It expanded a lot then into that big building.
Absolutely.
Life in the department store was captured in a 2006 documentary.
In the heart of the Yorkshire Dales, there's a charming little family business which has been passed from one generation to another.
It showed the retirement of Leonie's father David as the store changed hands to the new generation. Modernisation has been key to the shop's survival, and it's changed a lot.
Absolutely passionate about it, and one of the biggest compliments in the Dales is coming in and actually being accepted by the community and actually encouraged to actually build the business, because it means so much to the community. Everything is changing, and it's so difficult to keep on top of everything at times with customers, but because we're a small business we can change, and we're very agile, so we can change to different needs.
That personal touch means lots of loyal customers, so loyal that Janet, a customer for 40 years, now works for the family.
It's taken on a total transformation on the shop floor. It's just unbelievable, and nearly every customer that comes in compliments on that, so that makes all of us feel really good about the shop. It feels like we're doing something right as well.
With big beasts like Debenhams and House of Fraser falling by the wayside, Milner's survival is proof of the power of personal service. It started with a horse and cart, and there's great comfort in continuity when things are changing so fast. Keeping up with the times includes sustainable packaging and trading online. The family hopes such innovation will keep them dealing in Leyburn for decades to come. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, Leyburn.
And here's to the next century and a half. Now, just ahead of the weather, dolphins have been spotted leaping from the waters off Whitby. They were seen swimming next to an RNLI lifeboat as it entered the town's harbour walls and appeared to be in a playful mood as they stuck close to the boat. Paula Wilson, who took these pictures, said it was an amazing sight. Thank you for that, Paula. OK, here she is, a rather husky-sounding Keely Donovan.
Thank you very much.
Were you cheering too much yesterday for the football?
That's exactly what it was.
Right.
It has nothing to do with laryngitis for the last fortnight. Thank you very much, Phil. We've been getting some lovely pictures in over the weekend and the last 24 hours. The first one I'm going to show you is a lovely misty start to the day at Knaresborough this morning. The second picture shows that it's not been wall-to-wall sunshine everywhere today, but we did reach 23 degrees, and most places, as we see in our third picture, did get some spells of sunshine. And actually, the week on the whole doesn't look too bad at all. We'll have a few showers, but also some sunshine as well. So you can get your pictures coming in to the BBC Weather Watchers page, or you can send us them on social media as well. On Twitter at Keely Donovan, on Instagram, Keely.Donovan. So yes, the week doesn't look too bad, actually. We've got some sunshine at times. The next couple of days look relatively mild. There'll be a few showers in the mix through the week, and it does look like it's going to turn a little bit fresher as we head through Thursday and Friday. As for tomorrow, a little bit more cloud, I think, compared with today. So variable cloud could squeeze out the odd shower, but there'll also be some sunshine around as well. There'll also be quite breezy conditions too. The cloud is actually an occluded front that'll move through tomorrow. And then it doesn't look too bad. A cold front bringing fresher conditions to end the week. We'll pick up more of a northwesterly flow, so temperatures will be in the high teens rather than in the early 20s. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. There's been some decent spells of sunshine today. Cloud moving in from the west, and actually some of this cloud down here is producing some quite sharp showers, and we might over the next few hours see a few of those migrating northwards. So we could see some quite sharp showers for a time through this evening, but generally overnight it looks dry with clear spells, but quite breezy overnight. Towards the end of the night we'll start to see a little bit more cloud moving into the dales, perhaps some showers or showery rain here. Otherwise it looks a dry end to the night with temperatures at around 14 or 15 degrees. So let's have a quick look at those high water times. Just gone 8 o'clock in Whitby and just gone 8:30 in Bridlington. So most of us will wake up to blue skies tomorrow, but the cloud across the Dales will sink southwards and eastwards, bringing with it a few showers, and then that cloud will thin and break through the afternoon. Still the risk of a few showers, but also some sunshine through the afternoon as well. It is going to be quite blustery, a quite brisk, gusty westerly breeze, but like today, we should get up to around 21 or 22 degrees. Another mild day to come on Wednesday, but cooling down a little bit as we head through Thursday and Friday, Philip.
At last, it is beginning to feel a little bit like August, albeit a bit too late.
It's much better, isn't it?
It is.
Never
indeed.
too late.
You need some lozenges. That's what you need.
I absolutely do. Or some whiskey, maybe.
That's as far as we go for now. I'll be back with a late bulletin at 10 o'clock, 10:30. See you then. Good night.